Hi, guys, it's Dean, and welcome to Dean's Den. Today, my special guest is Dan Williams from Owner's Pride, and I want to ask Dan a lot about their products because I've heard some wonderful things from a good friend of mine. Andrew St. Pierre, I don't know if you realize this, Dan, but he's been using your products recently,
Hmm.
and he's been giving me some awesome feedback. I am eventually going to be using your products in my shop and testing them out. We're still going through a little bit of a transitional period, but I would love to know about all your different ceramic coatings that you guys have out because I know you got a lot of new stuff out right now.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on. I'm
No
absolutely
problem.
honored to be here, man. And Andrew, that guy is a go-getter. That young man is a go-getter. So I'm really excited that he's implementing more of our product line into his operation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would absolutely. I'm an open book to answer any questions you might have about any of our products, any of our warranty programs, our coaching program that's coming up, or anything. You bring it, and I'm going to answer it.
Okay. Tell me about your marine coating.
Okay, so we have a marine coating. It is a solvent-based coating. So a lot of what we looked at when we were putting our product line together, as well as our ceramic coatings with our chemist, was easy application. I've seen some of these coatings where people you have to put them on and use wet towels, and they're just a really difficult application process. So we found this solvent-based technology was the really the most streamlined way that there is currently to apply a ceramic coating. And that kind of a coating, our exterior 3, 5, and 7 and OP Pro are all with that technology, as well as our RV coating, boat coating, and power sports program.
Okay.
And essentially, what that means is you see a lot of the coatings out on the market today that are either SiO2 or TiO2, and those are a resin based coating. In a resin based coating system, you have a resin that goes across the panel of a vehicle. And inside of that layer of resin, there are suspended nanoparticles, much like sunscreen is on your skin. It puts the lotion on its skin. And then inside of the lotion, there's like nanoparticles that block UV from coming in and hitting your skin. So the disadvantage, I think, a lot of times to that technology overall is every time you wash a car, touch a car, rub a car or vehicle, little pieces of those nanoparticles surely start flaking out over time. And most of those you have to go back and have a reapplication of some kind.
Hmm.
With a solvent-based technology, there's a solvent carrier, and in that solvent carrier, there's a silicane slurry, we'll say. And what happens is when that touches the substrate, a chemical reaction called a chemical crosslink happens, and there's a silicon carbide bond formed to the paint. So there's no resin in the system. It's just literally a chemical reaction on the surface, and you have just the ceramic that stays behind. All of the solvent carrier beads up. When you're putting some ceramic coating onto an RV, you're covering a whole bunch of territory.
Yeah, that's a
So
lot.
having something that's easy to work with, where you can put it on maybe a 4x4 section at a time and kind of let it sit there for about a minute, and then it all just beads up on top of itself after the ceramic crosslinks to the substrate, and then you wipe that off and you move on to the next. So absolutely, we have it in. It comes in a small, medium, and large, and it comes with a compliant 5-year warranty program that your customer anywhere in Canada or the United States would be covered for their entirety of their country.
That reminds me of two questions I was going to ask you. One, how long does your marine coating last?
Well, we have it with a 5-year warranty program. We
Okay.
did have a 3 and a 5, but in business, I think a lot of guys will really, this will resonate with them, right? We coming up on year 4 and we're going into year 5 in our business. So we kind of looked at a lot of things that we had for our offerings after year 3, and we looked at things that were selling well and that were really serving the need of our consumers. And we kind of dialed back on some of the things that weren't. So we also had a 3-year program. However, the
Okay.
value that was built into the 5-year, it was what was selling. And we were sitting on a lot of inventory, kind of wasting shelf space and dollars for product that wasn't being used. So on a couple of these programs, we dialed back the 3-year program because the 5-year just made so much sense for the slight difference in pricing.
Okay. So I do have customers that have boats. Now, what do you recommend they wash it with? When they at the end of the season, when they pull the boat out, what product should they be using, or type of product should they use to not damage the coating that's on there and get the most out of it when they're trying to clean off all the algae and everything else that's built up on the boat?
So common sense to me would dictate using some kind of a soap on a boat is easier. Like I tell
Okay.
everybody my name is Dan E. Williams and the E stands for Eco Wash. Absolutely. However, when I owned my detailing business, the boats that I took care of were in the Pacific Ocean. And they were, maybe the smallest one was a 32-foot fishing boat.
Okay.
And then, most of them were 42-foot or so sailboats, and some of them were even bigger, like 65-foot triple deckers with a hot tub up on top. Using a rinseless wash in that, it's just not as easy as when you're doing it with a car. So I think using a soap is great. Now we do have car wash soaps at Owner's Pride, which would probably do just fine. But I'm gonna break it out and be completely honest here. When I had my detailing business, I used a product called Orpine. All my boats were sitting in the Pacific Ocean, and there's like a little bit of a pine sol smell to this soap product. It makes
Okay.
a really nice thick foam. Here's the important part. If you have a boat that's coated, you don't want to use too stiff of a brush on the smooth parts of your gel coat that you have
Okay.
coated. If you're using one of the yellow brushes on a stick, which is, again, you're not going to use just a bucket and wash by hand because these boats are big and you got to wash the whole big side of the hull and everything. So you want to use a medium to a soft brush for most of that. And then if you have stains or algae or something like that, you'd want to kind of attack that specifically instead of a big yellow stiff brush. The only thing that removes anybody's ceramic coating is abrasion.
Okay. So now that we're on boats right now, do you guys have products for the inside too, for cleaning the vinyl seats and the interior?
Now, much of that is going to really just parlay right over on your interiors of the boats
Okay.
for products that you can use on the outside. So if I was going to try to get some staining off of, say, one of the vinyl seats that was sitting outside in the weather and they get that black moldy stuff on them, I would probably use our grime, which is a heavy duty degreaser.
Okay.
It's a little higher on the pH scale, diluted down. It's very dilutable. But I think that that's something like that with a brush. And here is a place where you can use a little bit more of a stiff brush. They make a kind of a peanut shaped brush
Okay.
where you can brush it and really get that stuff off. Don't be afraid of using Eco Wash on
Okay.
the inside of a boat. And when I say on the inside of a boat, I mean like say it's a cabin cruiser or a sailboat with a galley in it and a bathroom. Like I used to go on the inside of the boat. I would make the people's beds. I would change out the sheets. I would clean the bathroom. I would clean the galley or the kitchen. So I did all that kind of stuff. And a product like Eco Wash would be absolutely fantastic for the inside because it's pH balanced of 7. And it's not going to do any damage to anything. And it's a really effective cleaner overall.
Okay. Do you guys have products that are based on motorcycles as well?
I have a motorcycle ceramic warranty program, also a 5-year program. So that it covers all of the painted surfaces and plastic surfaces on a motorcycle against, all of the things that a warranty would cover. It's a written express warranty, just like our other programs. So
Okay.
if anything goes sideways on it, you call a 1-800 number, go to our new website that's coming out and file your warranty claim. It will ask you for a couple photographs of it, your receipt from the job, and the actual warranty card itself.
Okay.
Supply all that information and we'll get right to you and adjudicate your claim and get you taken care of. Here's the cool thing.
All right.
We pay out our detailers as well. So we give an hourly rate for any repair work
Wow.
that gets done.
Okay. Do you guys carry a metal polish that would do the railings on the boat and do motorcycles as well?
We have one polishing product on our roster.
Okay.
And it's called OP Compound, pad
Okay.
dependent. So whether you're going to be wet sanding and polishing out paint or polishing on the bright work on a boat or polishing, any of those things, it's substrate. I asked it and it says, I don't care. I will polish whatever you put me on.
So it works on metal as well?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, because
Now,
not a lot of products will transfer over.
Oh, absolutely. So for a hard stainless steel, like the sticks that stand up on the outside of a boat, absolutely no problem. Chrome, no problem.
Oh,
If I'm going to
beautiful.
get into polishing aluminum, like
Yeah.
really polishing aluminum, I'm going to kind of kick it up a notch, and I'm going to use a Zephyr, one of the wheels that you put onto your rotary polisher, and then you
Okay.
turn it on edge and use rouges. That's how I would polish aluminum. But if
Okay.
I'm just polishing smaller pieces of hard metal like you're talking about,
Mhm.
absolutely, I just use the OP compound.
Okay. And what was I going to ask you? What different products do you have for the interiors of cars?
So on the interior of a car, I have a warranty program, of course,
Okay.
that you could put onto the cars. It goes for cars that are up to 3 years old. That covers your plastics and vinyls and leather, as well as your carpet and fabric against things like UV fading. If a dog goes in there and goes to the bathroom, that'd be covered, mold and mildew. We even cover rips, burns, and tears. So if you're driving down the road smoking a cigarette and the cherry falls off and burns a hole in the seat, you call a 1-800 number, make a claim, that gets taken care of.
Wow.
Sit down with a screwdriver in your pocket, pop a hole in the seat. That is absolutely coverable too. So I believe it's up to 1 inch rips and a 1/4 inch burns.
So when it comes to the cleaning part of it, though, do you guys have specific products for cleaning the leather and cleaning the carpet? Like,
You may be a little surprised about what I'm going to say right now. But the
okay,
first thing that I would always reach for would be Owner's Pride Eco Wash. Again, pH
okay.
balance to 7. It's safe on all of your surfaces, inside and
So
outside.
so it's a really good multi-purpose cleaner then that does pretty much everything.
It is the workhorse of a detailer's arsenal, really the
Okay.
backbone. And again, being because it's pH 7, it's safe on everything. If you take
Okay.
something on the inside of a car that's a higher pH, you run a little risk of like staining leather. If a seat has been re-dyed, that dye might come right off of there. A lot of those plastic surfaces on the interior of a car are really quite tender. Think the cluster gauge that goes up. How many times have you gotten into a car and seen the detailer's been in there before you and sprayed a all-purpose cleaner or something and left little dots all over that darn thing? Which I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
why they make that so soft anyway. That doesn't make any sense.
Dan, that could save the detailers a lot of money because instead of having to go and have a variety of products in their inventory, they can get away with just having one that does a lot of different jobs. That's a lot better.
Yeah, and it's dilutable at 512 to 1, which in
Okay.
hindsight, what we did was we took the leading rinseless washes that were on the market to our chemist and we're like, this is what we want, but we want it to be more dilutable and we want it to be able to make foam so you could put it into a foam cannon. We want it to be able to remove a stain. So it's really
Okay.
packed with emulsifiers that when they're agitated makes a nice thick foam so you could foam it onto a car, or you could pull out a stain. I recall Damon and his son Logan, who used to be a part of our company, made a video early on in our journey where they spilled red wine onto a white piece of carpet, and they used Eco Wash at a little higher concentration to pull that stain out.
I heard through the grapevine, you're going to have to confirm this or deny this. Let me know what the truth is. I heard that you guys have a ceramic that can be put on during the washing process.
So we do have in development, unreleased at this moment, a foam on ceramic that is I'm not sure if or when we're coming out with it, but I'll
Okay.
tell you what, man, you don't even have to, you just wash a car, your car's wet, and you
Yeah.
foam this onto the car. It
Okay.
makes the car shinier and glossier than, like, seriously, than a car that gets polished for 8 hours. Obviously it's not removing any scratches, but it's pretty magical. I hope we do come out with that soon.
Well, I've used similar products to that idea where you spray it on when it's wet and you rinse it. And it's fantastic because the car does act like it's been ceramic coated.
Mhm.
And if you guys come out with a product like that, I want to get a hold of it right away because I know you guys are top notch. Because I've heard nothing but good stuff from Andrew. He's been telling me all about your products and he really likes them. So
I feel we're let's see, February 15th will be our 4-year mark where we
okay,
start, going into the following. And I really think that we're starting to hit our stride as a company where we're not really looked at as like the bastard stepchild anymore. And we're like one of the players in the game. And I know some of the bigger stores from some of the other companies where they have, their top installer programs. We've recently launched OP Select,
Yeah.
which comes with a lot of advantages for the select people. And we've got people coming from other very established, longer companies onto our team. And it's just really exciting when you watch our whole team, from Damon and Blake and Eric and myself as the partners of the company and everybody that has been involved with it, putting in so much time, and it's just really starting to come together. And I'm really excited for what the future holds.
So how easy is it to get a hold of Owner's Pride in Canada? Now, I know for me it's easy because I just talked to Andrew, but for other provinces here, how do they get a hold of your products?
So everything currently is shipping out of OP Canada store. And that you can go to Paulo Sunciao and his partner. And
Okay.
I believe, do they have a website? I'm not even
They
sure.
might. I'll look for it. Now that you've mentioned it, I'll look for it.
And I know that we have a new website coming out, so theirs is probably going to mirror what we have coming out, and that's
Okay.
being worked on right now. We've
Okay.
rebuilt. We're kind of swapping over from WooCommerce to Shopify for an easier transaction and more power for us to have on the backside of our website.
Okay. When you come out with a new website, can you please share it to the guild site so that
Brother, if I'm doing my job, you won't be able to not know that we don't have a new website.
Okay, no, it'd be great because there's a lot of people in there, and it is a global website or global page, anyways. Uh, a lot of the detailing community likes to get a hold of the new stuff, and like I said, I like your products because, I mean, the fact that you have one multi-purpose cleaner that does a whole variety of jobs, that's great. Saves you a lot on inventory, and
Yeah.
it's getting expensive here to carry a lot of different stuff, so that's very helpful.
I think one of the best pieces of advice that I was ever given in our industry came from Joe Fernandez when I was really early in my detailing career. So I started my business back in 2004, and it had to be 2005 or six that I was that guy who had to hop on every new product as I was, becoming familiar with it. And this was before we had social media, and like it was a different time. But every time there would be a new product or a new polisher, I was like, I have to have that. That's what's going to change my business. So there was one day that a new polish had come out, and I called Joe Fernandez and I'm like, do I need to get this stuff? And he told me, he's like, look, find a company that you like the culture, the people, and the products, and make yourself the best you can with that.
Yeah.
And I had done that at the time. I took his advice, and it was the best decision that I ever made in that has really driven me to where I am in this industry today. At the time, I had teamed up with OptiCoat. I became a distributor for them. I used all of their products. I became an advocate where I would like take pictures of my finished cars with their products. I started making little videos and stuff. And this was before it was even easy to make cool videos like we do now with these short videos. But I really just dove in, and I worked my way all the way from a regional manager to the vice president, co-vice president with Ivan of business development. And it really launched my career in this industry. I would not be where I am had I been a constant product jumper. So the word of advice is like, find somebody that you like the culture of the company, and just stick with them. If they don't treat you right, of course, if they're not giving you the customer support you need, then obviously you got to move, because it has to be symbiotic for going both ways on this.
Yeah, the one reason I do try different products is I find uh, we have a little bit of a wacky kind of environment here because it's very humid here, and it's not like super hot like Arizona. So it's weird because, and we have the winter and we have all the seasons, right? Some products uh, give me grief because of where I am, and they work fantastic in other places, but in this area, they don't work. But as far as like cleaning goes, like basic cleaning, most of the products, like you say, they work pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's really about, are you going to wear a Nike or an Adidas shirt? Find what you
Yeah,
like, and I say you wear an Owner's Pride shirt.
there you go. If I get one, I'll wear it on the show.
All right, fair enough.
It's you see, I'm sporting Paint Assassins today.
Ha, gotcha.
See, I'm supporting Jason. Jason's very busy right now, and I tried to get him to come on, but he's super busy because he's in school, and I commend him. I mean, that's great going back to school. I did it myself. It's always a good thing.
Yeah. Well, we're old man. We ain't going back to school.
Oh, I've been back to school. I'm switching gears this year too. I'm going back and taking another job to stabilize myself, because we're in our area, it's been very difficult. So I'm still going to keep my business running, but I need something else outside to help me. So yeah, I'm going to be training again, going back to what I did 35 years ago before I was a detailer. So
yeah. Well, and so you're like going actually to a school where you pay money and go to classes?
I'm going to a full-time job, and they're taking me on because I already have previous experience as an apprentice. So they're taking me on, and I'm going to be working with aluminum.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Yeah. I was very fortunate because at that time I worked in a fixture shop. So I was building checking fixtures for different products. So it's kind of nice because they do products for all different industries, not just automotive. So, it's nice that they have their hands in a lot of different dishes, because if one of the dishes is empty, there's another dish to pick from, to do other work. So
where interesting what the problem that you've proposed though. So where do you feel that your detailing side of your business is lacking, or where's the shortfall coming? Is it bringing in the customers? Are your services not profitable enough?
Well, here's what happened, Dan. I have fantastic customers. That's not the problem. But about 70% of my customer base was people that are working for a living like I do. So unfortunately, they can't maintain their car as much as they could before. All the prices skyrocketed and went up 40%. So now, like, I understand, like, you've got your bills to pay at home. Everything's gone up here. Gas, your heating and cooling for your house has gone up. Everything has gone up. Like, if you're buying groceries here, it's crazy. It's gone up at least 30%. So it put a pinch on a good chunk of my customer base. Now, my high-end customers that are bringing me their classic cars and their BMWs and stuff, they're not affected. But when that's only like 30% of my business, it's not enough to keep me going all year. So what I'm doing is I'm maximizing my availability. What I'm going to do is, this job here is in the morning and early afternoon. So I've got all the rest of my evening off, and I've got my weekends off. So I hit the jackpot. So I've got all kinds of time to get these cars done. And with my customer base too, a lot of them work during the day. So this works out really good because they can drop the vehicle off when they're done work. I can knock it off and get it back to them.
You need to pivot and focus on the right customer, because just like your customers that are not the right customer are not going to be the right customer. They can't afford it. And if it goes outside of what they can afford, they either need to have a service or a detailer that's cheaper that they can afford, and you need to put all of your attention and your marketing efforts towards a different avatar or a different persona that can afford your services.
No,
So I think that's where that switch needs to kind of happen, to go after the people who are your customers. So when we have a business like a detailing business, it's very luxury, and it's not something that you have to have.
Yeah.
Right?
See, the one problem we have here, and it goes by location too. Where I'm at, basically the doors are shut for 4 months because we get snow, and if in Canada, if you live in, and I live in southern Canada, so I don't get 6 feet of snow, but we get enough that it screws things up. So what happens is if I don't make enough in that 7 months to perpetuate myself through the winter time, then I'm struggling. I got no money coming in. And last year, what I did was I made a decision to invest more money into my shop. So I invested a lot of money, but now I have to pay that bill. So I'm being responsible and I'm making sure that I have more than enough money to pay my bills during the winter time. So I'm gonna keep this job, but what it's going to do is it's going to get me right through the winter. Every single winter, I don't have to worry anymore. So I'm just doing it to stabilize. It's not the first time I've had a full-time job and done detailing at the same time. And I don't want to close the business. Some of my friends lost their business because
Man, it's
they were
just
paying
about
rent.
dialing back what's not profitable and focusing on what is profitable and what
Oh
business is
yeah,
out there. Because even bringing the people in that can't afford it, they can't afford it. So I
yeah.
would just kind of write them off and say that's old business. I would still keep them in my email nurture campaign. So you're building yourself as a credible authority, and any kind of deals that you have, they can see. So when they do get a raise or when they can afford it or when it becomes important enough for them, you're still there as the
Well,
authority.
yeah. I noticed that my high end customers are starting to expand. I'm starting to get more and more of them, but there's not enough right now to get me through the year because another thing too is all those cars that are, the 69 Camaros and the 66 Mustangs and all those beautiful cars, they're all
Going
put
in
away for those.
storage.
That's
Mhm.
it. So I have nothing coming in for
I
those
heard a
4
lot of
months.
the guys in Canada and places where it gets really cold. I'm here in San Diego. We're going to
Yeah.
be 72 and sunny pretty much the year round. But for you guys who have to deal with the weather, I heard that doing interior detailing is really where it picks up for you in the winter because people are getting in the
Oh
inside of the
yeah.
car with all the salt on them and stuff.
Well, people still want it maintained, but that's the thing that section of customer there, they're feeling the pinch. So they may not get, like, I can't bet on that because I have bills to pay.
Yeah. No.
So this year's going to be a trial run for me. I'm going to work my regular job, pay my bills, and then if I'm so busy, then I can switch gears later on down the road. But I don't see it
You're
happening
a
in the next year.
responsible adult taking care of business, which is commendable and respectable instead of
Oh
being a
yeah.
whiny little bitch that just kind of sits there and complains that I don't got any work.
Well, that's the thing, eh? Like, I learned when I was a kid. My dad said, "You want money? Take the lawnmower, go to the neighbors, go get some money. Get your shovel out, go shovel snow in the wintertime." That's how I was brought up. So, like, that's the thing. You have to be responsible. I am an adult. I have a family to support right now. Just basically my wife and I, but still, like, I can't put the burden all on my wife. We still have bills to pay.
I
So,
still, even in that, even knowing all of that, I would really shift my marketing efforts to go towards that higher end customer.
yeah,
Because then think about it. If you build that out over time, next year when this happens, this isn't going to be a problem because all of your customers are those high end customers.
yeah, that's the thing. If I was doing, like, if 100% of my customers were here for 7 months solid and I had no time to sit down, then yeah, I could go right through the winter and take a break. But that's that's the thing. I'm not there yet. Like, my company is just starting to expand in that direction. Like, we are getting a lot more classic cars in here, but it takes a while for that to grow. Like, it's not doesn't happen overnight. At this point right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm just being responsible. But yeah, as the company progresses, I will have to shift gears and do things differently. But yeah, I am going to focus on the top 30% of my customer base.
You're like T minus 10 minutes or so until the first snowfall.
Yeah, it's coming close. It was cool today. It was only 9 degrees here, which is let's see, about 50 degrees. So it's not
Nope,
very
nope,
nice.
nope, nope.
Yeah,
Nope. I used to have to when I had my detailing business, I was mobile and it would get
yeah.
down into like 50s at night sometimes. And when I had to put my hands in a bucket of cold water to wash a car, holy cow, 50 degrees, you would think I was putting it into the cryogenic freezer or something. It was so cold.
Yeah.
So cold.
Yeah, it's tough if you don't have and that's the thing. I spent like the last couple of years, I spent money putting heating and cooling in my garage, not just for ceramic, but so it would be very comfortable in the wintertime if I was working on something. So I do have that benefit. Some of my friends don't have that benefit. Like their shop is at 50 degrees all winter long, and it's cold for them. And I feel for them, man.
You know, I really kind of like the whole idea of what you're doing because you're covering your own butt. And
Yeah,
now you literally can focus on just the right customer because you don't have to worry about hustling up a whole bunch of work.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
and then what kind of a program or what do you do to try to get your friends, the friends of the other affluent clients that you have in your wheelhouse?
Sarah Carpenter is in charge of all my advertising. So uh, what I do is I go through her and we set it up. So next spring, what we're going to do is when all these cars roll back out again, then I'm going to have her do a campaign in that direction and focus on classic cars. Because that seems to be the customers that are most attentive to what I do.
So what are you going to do during the winter from here until springtime?
From here until spring, I'm going to campaign a little bit on my own and, put my name and prep people to come here for the spring. But
By doing what?
well, I will be
How's
doing
camp?
it. I am going to be
What's
doing interiors.
we're developing and we're almost ready to launch our coaching program at Owner's Pride. And we've been putting a ton of work into it. I got certified through Mike McAllowitz Fix This Next as a certified advisor, which is kind of the framework that we're going to use. But essentially, what have you ever worked with a coach, a business coach? And I'm not saying just somebody who does marketing for you and tells you blows smoke up your butt, but like
I
somebody who
I
helps you with
I
the
did
business aspects.
I did have Ivan come in here and train us.
Okay. This is a little bit different than that. Ivan really focuses heavy on the procedures and being efficient. And I don't know that there's anybody who has more efficiency than Mr. Ivan LaCroix. This is
Yeah.
my good coworker buddy from my last company, and really neat to see what he's been doing too.
Well,
Growing his brand.
It helped us out huge because you know what? I saved a lot of money on labor and product. Uh, there was a lot of waste. There's waste in every company, right? And there's always ways that you can fix things. So he helped eliminate a lot of wasted time, wasted product.
And where we're really stepping in with the people that we're working with are laser focusing. So we have a tool. If you go to ownerspride.fixthisnext.com and fill out these questions, there's 25 questions. And it's a tool that we use to highlight what the most vital need in your business is right now. And what we see so many times with these guys, if you're running a small business, you have 100 things that you're working on,
Yeah.
maybe you got to do the marketing, you have to do the cars, you have to order the products, you have to keep the books, you have to, if you have employees, you have to chase leads down. And so you can get so distracted and spread in so many ways that really nothing gets completed. So what we do is we look for the most vital need in your business right now, the lowest on the ladder of problems that's a bottleneck, and we
Yeah.
focus in. We work with you to set a 4-part plan where we can assess, measure, and follow up until we can complete that one thing. So it's very focused on unclogging that bottleneck. Then we move on to the next lowest, most vital need of your business. So every person is individual, and if you go and take the assessment on ownerspride.fixthisnext.com, it's absolutely no commitment made. You will get that information emailed to you about what your most vital need is, and you can schedule to work with us, or at least you'll know on your own and you can focus on that yourself. It's a free tool to use.
Oh, that's cool. That's very helpful.
Yeah. We're just working on putting the final pieces together. I have a website coming out, danwilliams.com, that's going to be for the coaching. We're putting our email nurture campaigns together because everything that I talk about and teach people to do is stuff that we do ourselves, both at Owner's Pride as well as in this coaching program that we're putting together.
That's good to know. I want to ask you, do you guys have any products specific for trim, as far as dressing or coatings or anything for trim? And
Actually, I had a consumer call me today and ask me the same question. And I'll give you the same answers I gave him. I don't have like a dedicated like solution finish type of product that's going to black it out with a dye.
okay,
But what I do have that works surprisingly well is our owner's pride ceramic coating. So we have OP Pro, which is our consumer coating. It's a solvent-based coating, like I was talking about before.
okay,
What you do is just clean your black trim with some eco wash and then use some paint prep on there. Or if you're not a detailer and you're going to do this to your own car, you could just use some of alcohol on trim. It's going to be absolutely okay to do that. That's going to assure that there's no oil or residue or anything. And then take the ceramic coating and wipe it onto the panel and wipe it off in about a minute. Holy moly, I'm not even sure how this works, Dean. It completely blackens it, but it's clear.
okay.
I did this to the Mazda. We have a Mazda CX-5. It's
Mm-hmm.
2015. Been paid off for about 3 years. Gotta love that. But in the car, you got 74,000 miles on it. It's in fabulous condition, but that trim was looking worn out. I did this to it about a year and a half ago because Angel just kept riding me to get it done. And still looks great. Beads up water and it darkened it. Again, I'm not exactly sure how or why because it's a clear product, but it sure did work.
So, do you guys have anything for the tires?
I have a tire dressing. It's a very
Okay.
basic water-based tire dressing. It's not the kind of tire dressing that you're going to put on. It's going to look like a glazed donut for 2 weeks.
It's a matte
However,
finish.
it's going to have a nice sheen to it. If you leave it a
Okay.
little bit thicker, it'll be a little shinier. Really, it's going to make a nice OEM dark tire. The
Okay.
cool thing is it's meant to be used every time you wash your car. Some of these tire dressings out there, if you put it on the tire, it like builds up over time. Dirt sticks to it. It makes it a pain in the butt when you go to wash your car the next time because you got to get all of the gummed up stuff out of the letters and all of that. Water-based tire dressing, body shop safe.
Okay. What products do you have for the glass that are specific to windows?
So I have a glass cleaning product called Glass, OP Glass. Here's the funny thing about that product. It reminds me of my grandma, Madonna Williams. And because when I was a little kid, she used to clean the windows with some ammonia and water and newspaper. And it has this slight tinge of ammonia scent to it, but it's absolutely safe on tint. And I know it was probably very irrelevant for me to talk about my grandma Williams.
Okay.
It really does make me think of her. And if you use it, you will think of my grandma Williams.
Okay, so that'll do all your windows on the inside. What about the windshield? Do you guys have anything you can put on the windshield, like any kind of a protectant?
Oh, absolutely. So we have,
Okay.
again, we have all of these compliant warranty programs that are kind of stand out for our entire industry. But we have a glass coating program. And the cool thing with our glass product is I tell the guys they can sell it 3 ways. They get 2 16-ounce bottles, which is probably enough to do 100 windshields. It's a lot of product. So
Okay.
you can use this product as a sweetener where if you're trying to close a sale, you say, hey, if we book this right now, I'll throw in a free $99 value ceramic glass coating for you, which you're absolutely doing. Or you could use it as a retention tool and actually sell it for $99. At the end of the day, if you sold it 100 of them for $99, you make about $10,000 on your $99 purchase, which would be pretty cool. Or you can put it on and sell it with a warranty. When you sell it with the warranty, you register it and we send them a bottle of slick and a bottle of glass cleaner to maintain the hydrophobic aspect of the glass. And here's how the glass coating itself works. If you were to look at a piece of glass, it's not a flat surface like it looks to your naked eye, but there's actually a lot of little hills and valleys in it. Part A goes on and it fills all those in and it adds the 30% strength. And the idea is if road debris were to come up and hit the glass, it's going to impact in a wider area instead of a pinpoint area and glance off, lessening the chance of the glass breaking. But what we have with the warranty itself is a $2,500 and a $5,000 aggregate repair and replace program. So a couple months ago, a Mercedes windshield that had our warranty program on it got a broken windshield, and it cost $3,200 to put a fresh piece of glass in there and recalibrate all the mirror settings. So they had a $5,000 aggregate on their owner's pride ceramic glass warranty. They used up 3,200 of it. They still have $1,800 left in case anything else happens. And again, it's as simple as making a phone call or going to our website and registering the warranty claim.
So how long does that coating last on glass on the windshield?
So we sell it with a 3-year and a 5-year warranty program.
Wow. Okay. So does it help? Like, does the water sheet off of it better too?
Absolutely. So, and one of the things we know that part A is going to go fill in all of those little valleys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part B is going to go on top of it. So we know that over time, say if you have your windshield wipers are sitting here and dirt settles on top of them, it starts to rain, you turn them on, that's going to abrade anything off of the surface. So we know that over time, the hydrophobic aspect will wane, which is why we send, if you register a warranty, we send them a bottle of ceramic detail spray and a bottle of glass cleaner. And it says every 6 months or as needed to apply some of the slick onto your glass for hydrophobic. And if you run out at any time during the term of your warranty, you call 1-800 number, we're going to send you some more.
Wow.
Also, that's why it works so great to use this product as a retention tool in the middle scenario that I painted for you, where you get your customer now to come back and see you every month or on some regular increment of time that makes sense to you. And that gives you a chance to spend 10 minutes with the customer. They're probably going to find something else on the car that they want to get fixed. And, it just perpetuates a long-term relationship and trust. And I think that may be my favorite way to sell it.
Yeah, that's good business. That's very smart. Okay, is there anything else you want to tell us about, Dan? Because I can't think of anything off the top of my head because you pretty much covered everything I was thinking of.
Gosh, we'll be at SEMA. We have a customer appreciation party. If anybody's interested in any of that, you can absolutely get a hold of me through Owner's Pride Podcast or through Dan Williams. And I'd love to tell you about that. If you're interested in becoming an authorized installer with Owner's Pride, we're really, like I said, I feel we're really hitting our stride in the industry currently. And I see it doing nothing but getting better from here. But you can go to our website and click on become an installer. You could reach out to me directly. We just hired Danny Cantrell. He came over from OptiCode, another OptiCode defector. Kind of funny. But he's came on as a rep for us. He's going to be doing a lot of our following leads and closing sales and onboarding people, as well as doing rep work. And him and Paulo and Johnny, who is at the Omaha store, are putting together our PPF training program. And so we're going to start our line of PPF. We'll be launching, I believe, by January, tint and PPF. Which is going to come with a really, really cool warranty program also that will be the only thing in the industry like it. And essentially, if road debris comes up and cuts through your paint protection film, damages the paint underneath, we'll pay up to $3,500 to remove the film, touch up the panel, and refilm the car.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's going to be a really neat advantage. What we found was working with these larger entities and insurance companies to offer these compliant warranties are something that really just make us stand out from the crowd. And some people might poo-poo on warranties because, in our industry, traditionally, they really aren't worth the piece of paper that they're written on a lot of times. And it's just something for the company to give you the runaround. We know to have a real compliant warranty that follows the rules of the Federal Trade Commission and the Magnuson-Moss Act, at least here in the United States. You have to pay out warranties. You're not going to hear that's user error. I'm not going to say, oh, this problem happened and you must not have put the coating on correct. It's not how real business works.
Well, that's good to know because a lot of customers ask me about warranties and stuff like that. So it's good to know that you guys back up your warranty. That's fantastic.
And not only that, I think I mentioned this earlier, but not only do we pay out the warranties and take care of a problem that arises, we pay our installers to do any repair work.
So that's really good. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, that's a lot of time, and it's expensive for the detailer to go and take that time away from one customer to fix something.
Yeah. And we pay out
So,
like an average of everything's kind of on a chart, right? So if you
okay.
have water spots on a panel or you have a bird poop stain on one panel, it'd probably be like you get paid out for an hour. And we pay out about $70 per hour,
Wow. That's really good.
for any repair work. And we also supply more coating for you. I do a podcast also,
Yeah.
called Owner's Pride Podcast. If anybody's interested, please do check that out.
I've been on there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the thing that
Yeah.
put us on the in front of people's faces.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool because, like working together is always good. And I can't stress this enough that it's good that you and I and Alex, we all work together to help each other to promote the industry as a whole. That's the best way for all of us.
Yeah. There are enough hours in the day and the week for people to listen to your content and our content and other people's content.
Yeah.
Everything's going to resonate a little different. I know the show that we're putting out is a little bit different than anybody else in the industry because I
Yeah.
like to bring people in from outside of our industry who are either big authors or like really successful people. We recently had Al Unser Jr., who's a two-time Indy 500 winner, Paul Page, who's the voice of the Indy 500. Great authors like Mike Michalowicz, which is who has Fix This Next program and Pumpkin Plan and Profit First. Marcus Sheridan, Joey Coleman. I have a lot of really cool guests who are lining up. We just made a connection to a PR person in NASCAR.
Oh,
And
cool.
the reason that we're trying to go a little outside of the box and every show isn't specific to detailing is we're using this as a tool to get in front of auto enthusiasts in general and small business. So while a lot of things are going to be directly related to detailing cars,
Yeah.
it's just a little wider of a scope because we're bringing it in, where people see us sitting down with Indy 500 champions. A guy who's never heard or never going to watch a detailing podcast will click on that. And I am able to share it into groups for Indy 500 and racing that have 100,000 people. And they let me share it directly into there, thereby exposing our brand name to a really big swath of people that if I was just talking about polishing a car, those people aren't going to see our name.
Yeah. See, whenever I have a guest on, I always try to give them an opportunity to answer questions that they get asked all the time, but all in one sitting. So now that's why I asked you all these different questions about owner's pride because a lot of people want to know about it, but that's the thing. Like they got to go and search for the information, but here they can sit down, watch the podcast, and learn a lot about owner's pride. So it makes it a
Yeah.
little easier for you as well.
If I got another couple of minutes, I'll really kind of lay out the
Go for
story
it.
of Owner's
Yeah.
Pride. So I was at another company I mentioned earlier, and Damon Gray, who's the founder of Owner's Pride, he was my customer when I was at my last company, and they were selling products from that company and utilizing all their stuff, and they decided that they wanted to build their own chemical line and that they wanted to have their own installer program instead of selling somebody else's stuff, which Damon's a really cool business person. In the last 7 years, he's built up his detail shop in Omaha, Nebraska to gross over $1 million. He's brought in management and employees to run the store for him so he could shift his focus from that and start building this company, which is just, that's entrepreneurship and how you actually grow business. He's not out there polishing cars every day himself. But so he tapped me to come over and be a part of this team, which, it was at a time of life where that needed to happen. And I'm super happy and forever grateful for him letting me be a part of the dream. I had a really good roadmap of how to put one of these programs together and a lot of connections. So he came from, first he was in the Coast Guard. He was a preacher, and then he had a bumper repair business. I believe he's been in the industry for about 27 years. So he was going to dealerships doing bumper repair work and painting and all that stuff, interior repairs. And then he started his detail shop, built that thing up. It's just it's a really great team to work on, and I'm so happy again that he asked me to be a part of it. He's such a successful business person, and I've learned a ton from him. And we have a lot of things that we're cooking up at Owner's Pride. We're only just getting started.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, anytime you guys have an update, If you want my help to get it out there, just let me know, and I'm always available for a sit down because I enjoy learning, and I like to share. So it's great. I'm thankful that you guys are around and producing fantastic products because it helps.
Yeah. If you have a whole bunch of crap products, that's a much harder road to ride. Though I feel we got a lot of things going for us. A team that has years and years of experience in not only, you know, I built up a business for 12 and a half years, sold that business, which a lot of people think that they're going to sell their detail business, may or may not be as easy as you think to sell a detailing business.
Yeah,
And I've worked my way up through the ranks at these companies. Damon has built up a business, sold that business, built up another business, building another business. So we come at it with a really a deeper entrepreneurial thing, and I just like to see people succeed. Never having any children, I look at a lot of these guys who are younger, and I feel a really great connection to them. And I feel so proud when they realize their potential and they like start hitting their goals, and they're actually growing their business to be a sustainable business, not just like I'm worried about polishing this car or I'm worried about getting a job because now I have no work for next week, but to where
yeah,
they can like literally start bringing in people to do the work for them, start focusing on the business. I mean, it's easy to get into the industry that we're in. I mean,
yeah,
I'm living proof. When I started a detailing business, I was a waiter and a musician. I had no experience running a business, and I did everything wrong for the first multiple years. It wasn't till and towards probably past the halfway mark, probably the last 4 years, that things started to click and make sense. And I started to do things like look at my analytics, look at how I was organizing my customers. And then I've just really dove in since then as I moved over to the support side, learning all that I can to try to help grow business, to not only help grow the business that we're in, but help everybody that we're supplying grow their business.
yeah. That's the one thing people don't realize. They get into detailing and think, oh, it's going to be easy to run. Is It's not. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So yeah, even if you're starting out doing it on the side or whatever, the more you learn, the quicker you're going to be successful. So
And I asked one of the questions that I ask on the podcast, because we do have a lot of people that come on who are very successful in whatever field, like again, Indy 500 winners or big authors. Um, I, what is it that like actually makes people successful? And all of those people that seem to be hyper successful, they all just have this passion and thirst for learning, and they always
yeah,
want to continue to learn more and learn more. And I know even myself, I get really bored if I'm doing just one thing. Like I have to continually um, putting together this coaching program has been way more of a chore than I anticipated. And I realized the mistakes that I had made when we first were doing coaching, and correcting all those problems and really building a solid program.
yeah. Every time I talk to somebody on a podcast or even on Facebook or through one of the groups, I learn a lot. I learn a lot from people, and I'm very thankful that so many people like yourself are putting the information out there for everybody else to help them as well.
Now, any of the people who think that they know everything or act all douchey, I would
They don't know.
avoid those people like the plague.
Yeah, because the industry changes so fast. It's changing at warp speed. We can't keep up to it. I mean, you can get little bits and pieces that might help you with your business, but you're never going to know everything. There's no way. There's too much information out there and too many things changing too quickly. Like you go to SEMA, you can't hit every booth.
Wow.
There's no way. You'd have to be there for a week to hit every booth. Like if you go there for 2 days and think you're going to see everything, it's not going to happen.
And that's
And
just walking through at a good clip.
and that's only 1 year.
Yeah, not
That's only
stopping.
1 year. Next year it's going to be all different again. You know. So and they're always every company is always working on new products, new technology, and the only way to keep up is to reach out to other people and learn from them. That's the easiest way.
Gotta always be innovating and learning. You sit still and become complacent, and then you don't grow anymore.
Did we cover everything? Pretty much.
Man, if you got more questions, I'll answer them, or I can be done. I'm pretty
I
flexible to whatever you
I
got for me, brother.
I don't have any more questions that I can think of off the top of my head. You pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover with you that I could think of anyway. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
oh man, it's great to talk to you again.
It is so fun to be on the other side of the interview. Like I'm so used to
Well,
being the guy asking questions.
yeah.
It's I did a podcast recently about I quit drinking 25 years ago. June 3rd was 25 years. And I've never really dove deeply into that story, but the PR person that I'm working with is telling me that I really have to highlight the struggles that I went through earlier in life, because I was a drunk and I kind of went all the way down to being homeless. I lost everything.
Wow.
And I went to rehab for my second time, lived in a halfway house, and kind of built everything back up when I was 29 years old. And I don't really talk about that side of my life very much, but the PR person is telling me that that is what makes where I've landed in life now actually kind of special. So it's called Sober by Design, and
Yeah.
with Dan Williams as a guest. So if anybody's interested in like hearing about some of my crazy past that led me down some really crazy roads, I lay it out pretty good in there without
Yeah.
glorifying it, but I really
Yeah.
kind
Well,
of
there's a
talk about
lot
the
of
struggle.
us. Yeah, there's a lot of us in detailing that have a tough past. I was fortunate because I grew up in a really good home. Uh, my parents were strict, but I didn't get into a lot of trouble, and my brother was very supportive of me, and we were always hanging around. We didn't get into a lot of trouble when I was younger, but yeah, everybody has their struggles. My biggest struggle, I guess, would be PTSD, and it's only with driving because I was in a bad car accident, and I wasn't hurt. The car itself was wrecked, but what happened was it triggered a memory from when I was younger. Uh, a girl lost her life at an intersection, and I was the first one to respond to it. And it didn't affect me at the time. I was 16 years old. I was just doing what I would, what I thought was the right thing to do. I jumped over the fence, ran out to the intersection, checked to see if everybody was okay, and this poor girl, she died right there on the scene. And it didn't bother me at that moment, but the accident that I had 30 years later, the sounds and everything triggered that, and I started having nightmares, and I couldn't, like, I was freaking out whenever I'd stop at an intersection. I didn't understand what was going on, and it's tough because that's the only thing I've had to work through. I've been very fortunate in my life, so with time it's getting better. But
What did you what kind of therapy did you do, like regression therapy or
I went to a
dialectical?
counselor, and she asked me, "Have you ever been in an accident before?" And I said, "Well, not personally. Like, no." She said, "Okay." She just got the cues and she walked me through it. She says, "Have you ever been in an accident? Like at the scene of an accident?" I said, "Well, yeah, when I was 16." And she said, "Well, tell me what happened." And I started breaking down right there and crying because that's what it was. That's what was causing all this problem. But I had no idea, right? And it just it's a feeling of helplessness. I was so helpless to help this girl. There's nothing I could do. She died on impact. Like there was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
And I was the one that had to call in the police, the fire department, and the ambulance and tell them, look, she's gone. I know she's gone because without getting graphic, but I mean, it was blatantly obvious. She had no signs of life whatsoever. So uh, I called it in, and they got the police got out there right away. Uh, then the fire department came. They covered her up, and they started cutting her out of the car so that the ambulance could take her away because there's nothing anybody could do. But yeah, like everybody struggles with different things in their life, and that's the first time I've ever said that on air. I don't usually tell people that, but I do suffer from PTSD, and that's, uh, I'm thankful that's my only problem I have is that. And I don't drive very much anymore. And when I do go somewhere, usually my wife will drive, and it doesn't bother me as much. But the area where I have my accident, I avoid that area. Like I don't drive around there very much at all because it might trigger it again, and it's not very comfortable. So I avoid that situation. But thankfully, that's the only thing I struggle with.
My wife Angel has PTSD from childhood traumas, and she has a therapist and that she works with, but she does EMDR therapy. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I don't know what that is.
She does it online. It's essentially, I believe it was developed for soldiers coming back from war who had PTSD, and it's something to do with you make a list of something, and then on the screen a ball bounces back and forth and it plays tones in your ear, and you just follow the bouncing ball, and somehow it resets. I need to get a real psychiatrist or psychologist on here to talk about this because I find it absolutely fascinating. It sounds bananas, but I think they use it a lot in military for those guys who are, they're definitely coming back from seeing a lot of bad stuff too.
Yeah, I have
EMDR. You should maybe check it out.
Yeah, I have friends that are in the police department, and they deal with a lot of situations too. Like, I commend those people. I mean, I had one situation in my life. These people are dealing with this thing every single day. I don't know how they do it. Honestly, I don't. And I'm just thankful that we have people out there that are doing those jobs. Even the military. I mean, I'm thankful that there's somebody there that's putting themselves in that situation every day to make our lives better back at home,
Yeah. A lot of jobs I wouldn't want to do, like a trauma surgeon or something, or an ER person. I don't want to. I don't think I don't like to see people getting hurt.
I couldn't do it every day. That happened to me once in my life, and I could not do that every day. There's no way.
But what a stellar 16-year-old young man you were for handling the business that was in front of you instead of just leaving.
I had to do something, like I was the only one there. I didn't want this girl to die. Is what it was, so I was trying to get her help. So I had to go and see what was going on so I could, relay it back. Because back then there was no cell phone, right? So I ran out there. I ran back to the farmhouse. I called it in. And I did what I could do, but it was too late. There's nothing I could do. And I got to live with that the rest of my life. But I mean, I don't feel guilty anymore because I know there was absolutely nothing I could do.
Yeah. You were a 16-year-old kid. I mean, yeah, of course there's nothing you can
Well, that's the thing. At 16, you think you think you're king of the world, eh? You're invincible. But you learn quick. Something like that happens. But you know what? I've been thankful the rest of my life that I've had a long life. I mean, I'm lucky. Like at 54, I'm lucky because this poor girl, she lost her life in her 20s. And, that's tragic. And she did nothing wrong. Somebody ran a red light and ended her life right there at an intersection. And there was nothing anybody could have done, No. But that's the thing. We got to be thankful for every day that we have. I mean,
you never know.
That's it.
One of my best friends in the world, my dear friend Mac, passed away a couple months ago on his 54th birthday, nonetheless. Wow. So same age as us.
Yeah.
Massive heart attack, fell over dead.
Oh, that's it. That's a thing. Like, I try my hardest to help as many people as I can every day because I'm blessed to be here. That's the way I look at it. That could have been me at any time in my life. That could have been me. So I can't help that girl. The only thing I can do is help other people that she would have helped if she was here. So that's the way I look at it. I spend my life trying to help people, and you get something out of it too. Like you feel fantastic when you help people.
Absolutely. That is exactly why I like linking up with these guys and helping them grow their business. Like it's so darn rewarding.
Well, now people might look at both of us a little differently now because we both spilled the beans a little bit. So,
that's good, man. We're real people.
Oh yeah, but they don't usually hear that part. They hear about the business. They hear about stuff I've used and different ways I clean cars. They don't usually hear about my personal life very much. So,
like I say, that the all business is human to human, whether it's business to consumer. Making yourself more human and real and sharing some of this stuff. This is what the PR person's telling me. Sharing some of this stuff makes you more connectable and more real. And
yeah.
And well, it probably does good for us to get it off of our chest instead of just holding it in all the time.
Well, you know what, Dan, it might help people relate to us better because now they understand where we're coming from.
Yeah, like we're not just a couple salty old men.
No. Anyways, I can't thank you enough. This has been fantastic. And yeah, I feel a lot better after talking to you about it too. So
excellent, man. I love it.
Anyway, yeah. Guys, I can't thank you enough for tuning in to Dean's Den. I know that, I know we shared a little bit more than we were going to share today, but I mean, now you know a little bit more about me, a little bit more about Dan. And Dan and I always have a good time when we sit down together. So I hope you guys got a lot of information from Dan. That was the whole goal of today, was to get you guys familiar with Owner's Pride. It's a wonderful company. There's great people over there, and the products are top notch. So please check them out. Reach out to Dan. Reach out to Owner's Pride. If you're interested to find out more, please do that, okay? And Dan, I'll let you do an outro as well.
All right. Thank you so much for giving me some time on your show.
No
absolutely
problem.
Honored to be here. I had a great time, and I also have a great time talking to you every time we do it, man.
Yeah. Okay, Dan. Well, we'll do it again sometime. So anyways, thank you very much for this one, and hopefully we'll get together again soon.
Thank you.